Pivoting is the ability to recognize when a conversation isn't going the way that you want it to. It is not going to be productive. It's not going to go well. And making the conscious choice to shift how you continue to engage in the conversation so things don't spiral into an argument. If you've been here with me for a while, you know I have a saying, conflict is inevitable, but arguing is optional. And pivoting is that answer to experience a relationship where arguing truly is optional.
Welcome to the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Perda. As a marriage coach who's married with 3 kids, I know how much parenthood could change a marriage. If flirting, laughing, and having fun together feels like a thing of the past, then I'm here to teach you that marriage doesn't have to feel so hard with your parents, and your marriage can thrive even when you're in the season of raising kids. Whether you're in a good place in your marriage and you just want to continue growing together, or you're wondering if you even like your spouse anymore, this podcast has something for you. Join me here each week as we dive into what it takes to help your marriage grow, and maybe even do a 180. You'll learn ways to handle conflict better, bring that spark back into your relationship, as well as learn how to improve other areas of your life from my lovely guest experts. Are you ready for the next stage of your life in marriage? Let's dive in.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. Today, I am going to share the number one communication skill that I teach my clients that helps them end arguments faster. And it has nothing to do with saying the perfect thing. And this has been a skill that I had to learn the hard way. Like several relationships took me that long to figure it out. And this one skill has allowed for me to quickly, like super quickly, end arguments with my husband, which we don't even have that often anymore, which is amazing. But when we do, using this one skill allows us to de-escalate the conversation like that. Okay, I don't know if you heard it, but I snapped my finger. And this is a skill that is so important because we cannot always anticipate how our partner will react. We can do all the preparation in the world to make sure that we approach the conversation with feeling grounded and feeling clear. But there's another half of the conversation that we have no idea how that's going to go down, right? They're like a wild card because we can only control ourselves and not our partner. And so sometimes you're going to get unexpected responses from your partner, or they're going to take what you said and react in a way that you're like, oh, I didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't think that saying it this way would upset you. And take that skill and be able to still keep the conversation productive and on track and prevent it from escalating any further. Okay. That one skill is pivoting. Pivoting is everything, right? Like I said, you cannot always predict how your partner is going to respond. And when you learn how to pivot, it is such a game changer. From learning how to pivot, my clients have been able to shorten arguments, have less arguments, and come out of conflict with their spouse feeling more connected. They feel like they are better as partners. They come out with resolutions. They come out not even having to go through that awkwardness when you're like, okay, we're tired of having this fight. Let's just end it right here without actually seeing it through. And then you have that awkward phase where you're like kind of walking on eggshells, right? You're like letting some time pass. You're not sure if your partner's still mad at you, and you're kind of like testing the waters. You're like trying to crack a joke, or you're trying to offer them some food or ask them a question to see how they're feeling. Like, are you still mad? Are we good? Are we good to go back to our normal selves, or do we still need some more space from each other? When you know how to pivot, you can avoid all of that. Because when you know how to pivot and you end that conversation well, you are already normal. Like nothing horrible happened between you two. If anything, you feel closer together, which is incredible, right? And in fact, When you can do that, that's when you know you're doing conflict right, because conflict is really an opportunity to come closer together, to strengthen your connection. And if it doesn't feel like that right now, then I'm so glad that you're here listening to this episode, because pivoting will help you get closer to be able to do that. Because I don't want any marriage to feel like conflict is just another example of why you two shouldn't be together, or conflict is just another example of why marriage is hard. Yes, communication is challenging, but when you learn how to navigate it and you have the tools, it's not that scary. And it's almost like something that you can rely on to up-level your relationship. Because your relationship's all about growth anyway, right? Personal growth, relational growth, and your marriage gets to get better over time. And this is one of the ways to do that, by pivoting and learning how to navigate conflict in a healthy way, so that you do end with feeling more connected after every single conflict. Okay, so with that said, what the hell is pivoting? When I hear pivot, I immediately think of the Friends episode with the couch. And I think it's so funny because when you're moving, if you've ever had to move, you know how much communication is required to not kill each other. From moving furniture to actually moving out of a house into a new house, it requires a lot of coordination and clear communication. Because you can't just pick up a couch and move it in and out of rooms without communicating. Unless you've got into the groove and you've done this for a while with each other, you're going to have to communicate. Okay, a little more to the right on your side, a little higher, a little lower. Are you ready to lift it up? There's so much involved in that. In regards to conflict and communication, pivoting is the ability to recognize when a conversation isn't going the way that you want it to. It is not going to be productive. It's not going to go well. And making the conscious choice to shift how you continue to engage in the conversation so things don't spiral into an argument. If you've been here with me for a while, you know I have a saying: conflict is inevitable, but arguing is optional. And pivoting is that answer to allowing you to experience a relationship in a way where arguing truly is optional. Because with arguing, you're either starting it or you are continuing it. Okay? So if you're doing either of those, we've got to shift to pivoting. This matters a lot because this is what stops things from spiraling out of control. This is what helps you guys have those mature conversations where you do get to work together to sort through the issues and challenges together. This is what allows you to actually have a productive conversation, because it doesn't matter how well you prepare for the conversation. You can have the best of intention. You can be like, I'm going to go in there so patient, so compassionate, and share what I have thought about in terms of how I feel and what I want. I've processed how I feel. But if your partner is not reacting the way you expect, it can throw you off, right? It can trigger you. And that's why learning how to pivot is so crucial, because we are human. We're not going to get it perfect 100% of the time. So as soon as you notice that things aren't going the direction that you want it to go, pivoting is the answer. And so awareness is really the first step to practicing this art of pivoting in conflict. So noticing when things go south look like what's going on inside of you. Do you feel triggered? Are you getting defensive? Do you feel anxious? Do you want to shut down? Do you want to walk away? Do you want to attack? And ask yourself, what changed? What happened right before I started feeling this way? Do I need clarification? Did I make an assumption that I need to get confirmation that that's actually what he meant, so that I'm getting mad for a reason and not just getting mad because of something I made up in my head? Did I misunderstand something? Did I take something personally that he didn't mean for me to take personally? Checking in with yourself about what is happening that had me going from cool, calm, collected to irate, livid, like I want to rip him a new one right now. Okay. Or you can look to your partner and notice, his body language is changing, right? He went from looking receptive to the conversation to looking closed off, or he looked like he was understanding what was going on to thoroughly confused or annoyed. Or maybe you're noticing that his tone has changed, that his voice is getting louder or quieter. His arms are crossed. Maybe he's rolling his eyes. Maybe he's backing away, trying to create space between you two. Or maybe the words that he's using now are more dismissive or anger driven, right? These are all great cues to pay attention to. And that's why awareness is so important. That's why spending time processing what's happening with you before you start the conversation is so important, because if you're trying to figure yourself out during the conversation while also trying to figure out him, you're not going to notice all of these things because you're so in your head, right? And in the show notes, I'm going to share with you a guide that I have that can help you feel more prepared and confident before entering a potentially challenging conversation. Okay. But with that said, did you know that 55% of communication is nonverbal? That is a big portion. Okay. And so if you're only relying on the words that he's saying, you're missing a whole lot more that's being shared with you in the conversation. Our body language tells a lot more than the word choice that we use, because sometimes we mask, right? We have our pride, and sometimes we'll say things to protect ourselves. But if you look at the body language your partner's giving off, or even being aware of your own body language, if you're now crossing your arms, popping your hip, or even how you feel, like, oh, my shoulders are tensing up. I feel a knot in my stomach. My heart is pounding. That's all really great context for you to take in, okay? The next thing, when you notice things aren't going well, that's your cue to pivot. And you can start off by pausing, okay? The P in my peace method when it comes to healthy communication. Take a pause, like, oh gosh, I am like feeling really upset right now, or I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now. Okay, let me communicate this. Hey, I'm starting to feel overwhelmed right now. Can we take a break and come back to this a little later? So there's one way. Or you can shift your tone or your pace with how you're communicating if you are able to continue being in the conversation. Okay, so you could slow down how you're talking, you can soften your tone so that you're not contributing to the escalation of the conversation, right? Because when conversation gets a little more heated, we tend to talk more loudly and faster and more aggressively. So if you change your own dynamic, see how he responds. When we do that, we're showing, hey, I'm not trying to have a fight right now. I'm going to soften because I want to have a conversation. I don't want to argue. I want to work with you, not against you. Okay. Or you can ask a clarifying question. Hey, when you said that, what did you mean by that? Because this is what I heard. Okay. This is a great way to stop your assumptions right then and there, because our brain loves to spin all of these different stories that support our narrative. And so if you're spinning the narrative that you're the victim in the situation, it's going to find examples and manipulate it, like exclude things that they've said or overemphasize something that they said to support your narrative. So if you all of a sudden feel offended by something that they said and you're taking it personally, but you're like, wait a minute, they're not out to get me, and you remember that, you can ask for that clarification. Hey, what did you mean by this when you said that? Then you can get confirmation from him instead of just running wild with your thoughts taking over. Because when we're feeling emotional, we can make up all kinds of stuff in our heads, right? our partners can do this too. This is not just a female thing, by the way. Another thing is calling it out, right? Calling out what you notice. I feel like we're starting to argue right now. I feel like this conversation is escalating. And I want to make sure that we can do this the right way. I want to make sure that we are feeling connected as we do this and we're working through this as partners. Can we reset? Or you can even apologize, oh my gosh, that was not a good response from me. Can we rewind? Can we do this over again? Because I want to make sure that we talk through this as partners. I am on your team and that was totally not appropriate, or I crossed the line there. Okay, there's another way of doing that. Or you can use touch or humor, right? Lots of people will hold hands when they argue to remind themselves, we are a team. We are in this together, okay? Or you can make a joke if appropriate. Know your partner, okay? You know your partner best. If they're not open to that, don't do that because you'll piss them off even more. But you can be like, ooh, it's getting a little tense here, right? Oh, goodness, I'm getting hot right now and my anger is taking over and we need to chill her out right now. Something like that, right? Something to lighten the mood. But again, know your partner. Don't do this and say, Michelle told me to do this and have it backfire, okay? Pivoting doesn't mean avoiding, okay? So pivoting is a way for you to navigate conflict in a way where it stays on track. As soon as you notice it's going off track, it's a way to redirect it back on track, okay? So this does not mean don't have conversations. What it does mean is you love your marriage enough to notice that things aren't going on track. Just like when you have a toddler and they are walking towards danger, you redirect them back to safety. Same thing. You're doing this for your marriage. This is how you protect your relationship. This is how you prioritize connection over your pride. Okay. Now, with that said, this takes practice and consistency. So while you're not going to always catch it the very moment that it happens, as long as you catch it when you notice, that's what matters. Because the more you catch it, the earlier you're going to catch it. And it's like building a muscle. Pivoting is what's going to help you have more productive conversations and fewer drawn out fights that spiral out of control. It's also going to help you get to a resolution with your partner faster. It's also going to help you feel more connected as you move along. Because who actually wants to spend most of their marriage arguing, right? No thanks. I'd rather feel connected. I'd rather feel like we are in a satisfying, fulfilling relationship. And so if you are ready to stop wasting your precious time together arguing, try pivoting, okay? But also give yourself compassion. Know that this is a new skill for you and it will be challenging because hindsight is 2020, right? You'll have a lot of those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, I should have done it at this point. It's okay. Just notice and be like, okay, next time when I notice that I'm clenching my jaw or when I notice that my heart is pounding or I'm starting to feel really hot, I'm going to do this. Or next time I notice my husband is shifting his body language to be more closed off, I'm going to do this. Okay? So try this. Let me know how it goes. Send me a DM. And if you want help figuring out how to recognize your emotional triggers, figuring out how to turn conflict into connection, I want you to download my Conflict to Connection guide. Okay? This is a great way to start feeling more prepared when you go into tough conversations. It's filled with prompts to help you feel more grounded and process what it is that you're feeling, what it is that you're wanting, what it is that you're needing, so that you can communicate it more clearly in a way that your partner will be more receptive to it. And of course, if you're looking for more hands-on support, send me a message or book a clarity call with me. I would love to share how I can support you meet your marriage goals in just a matter of a few months. Okay, so that's it for this episode. I hope that you go try this so that you can start ending your arguments way sooner and then have fewer arguments in general. And if you know someone that could benefit from listening to this episode, please share this with them. Better yet, tag me in your stories and share the episode there. And if you are loving the show, I would appreciate it if you show your support by leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. But that's it for this episode. I will catch you back here on the next episode. Bye.
That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, please send me a message over on Instagram at Michelle Perda Coaching to let me know what you loved most about it. Hearing from my listeners is my absolute favorite. And if you've been loving this podcast, please leave a rating and review. This will help people like you find the show and get the help they need. Catch you here on the next episode. Bye.